All right, folks. I thought I'd do an initial impressions of the Schwarz knives, Overland Sport. Um, I thought this knife was really interesting, and I thought it was cool that the guy makes. His name's TJ. He makes knives in his single car garage, and he's got two um, machining setups in there, and he's just really smart about the way he does it. Also, it's kind of interesting. He makes videos about how he does stuff. It's really interesting. So I kind of wanted to support him and his endeavors, and he also makes really high quality stuff. And then what pushed me over the edge is he had a knife drop where he had the knife set up the way it's set up here. This is the knife that was in the drop. As you can see, it's got kind of a slate colored, I can't remember what the exact name of the color was, but slate colored Kydex sheath. It's what comes with an ulti-clip 2.2, which is nice to see a knife come with the actual mounting solution that's good and that's intended for the use of the knife. It's a pancake style sheath. It's not a taco style, and I'm fine with that. The taco style would probably only, be maybe like 3 millimeters further in anyway, so it doesn't really matter, and it sits well nice in the pocket and everything, nice and flat. It does have a drain hole in the bottom, as you can see here. So that's the sheath. It does a good job cutting it out. You can push off here to take the knife out. Yeah, I have absolutely no problems with it. It's a great sheath. So if we take the knife out, the knife is gorgeous. So this is a really interesting one because it's like a denim micarta, he called it. And it does look like denim, which is part of the reason I got it, because it kind of blends in with your pants. I mean, obviously these copper washers and the stainless screws won't really blend in that well, but I mean, like, it's going to blend in pretty well. I live somewhere with weird knife laws that don't make any sense. The provincial law here says that you can carry any knife as long as it's not concealed, and then I live in a city where they have a bylaw that says you cannot carry a knife in public that is visible. So figure that out. So I figure I'll just go somewhere in between, not super visible, but still kind of visible. So yeah, this will be my fixed blade EDC. So yeah, it's got the denim micarta on there, which feels great. I love micarta. It feels so good in the hand. Big fan of micarta. The only thing I don't like about it is it absorbs liquids and stuff like that, so if you get anything gross on there, it's going to kind of absorb into it, but you can wash it out. I do like what he did with the copper little, I don't know what to call them, little eyelet things. They're effectively washers. Little copper washers in there. I think it looks really pretty that way. And then it's kind of got like a slate kind of colored Cerakote on it. So it's very pretty. I think he did a great job with this drop. It's very pretty. The handle's very thin. So you can see, the handle is quite thin. You've got this little kind of cutout in the middle here that just makes it look cool, essentially. And you've got a little lanyard hole if you want that. And it's kind of beveled, which I really appreciate. That's pretty cool. Just kind of a higher quality thing. The bevel on this one's maybe not perfectly centered. I think he's a little bit off. You can kind of see if you look close, it's not perfectly even. Doesn't really bother me any, to be honest. But a minor defect. And then you can see the the ridge of the handle of the knife actually sits up just a little bit proud of the micarta, but it's like beveled. So the micarta is beveled and it's beveled, so it meets just fine. And it fits in my hand good. I have about a medium-sized glove hand, and you can see it fits in there with a little room to spare. So if you got a large hand, it's probably going to fit. And then if you got like an extra large hand, you might be kind of doing one of these where you're kind of getting like a half grip on your pinky maybe. I feel like this is more made for my size hands. It fits really well in my hand. And it's more of an EDC task knife. Like, you're probably not going to be sitting there going for hours and hours with this thing. I mean, you could. We'll find out. I probably won't be going for hours and hours. I'll just do all the tasks I normally do, like making feather sticks for making my fires, doing a little bit of kindling, splitting with it, opening boxes, that kind of thing. So maybe cutting a sandwich or two in half, that kind of deal when we're out. So I think it's perfect for that. I really like the blade design for those types of things, and I'll probably use it at camp too to make dinner and that kind of thing. So the thing I do like about it is you can kind of get a bit of like an easy little kind of pinch grip on it, and you can cut up vegetables. And because the blade sits a little bit proud of the handle, you can see the handle sweeps up a little bit there. Makes it easier, so you're not going to be hitting your handle on the cutting board while you're trying to chop. And then this little sweep on the blade, little belly there, it lets you kind of do a lot of roll chopping, I noticed, which is pretty nice. Cut an apple and some tomatoes up earlier, and it did a fine job. The thing is crazy sharp. It is now probably the sharpest knife I've ever gotten from factory. And then something a similar level of sharpness, maybe not quite as crazy, would be this Benchmade Hidden Canyon Hunter. And you can see there, we'll compare sizes in a minute, but this knife's actually a little bit bigger than the Benchmade, just because the handle's a bit bigger, I think. But we'll do that in a second. We'll take a look. But yeah, it's a gorgeous knife in my opinion, and it blends in with my jeans, which I like. And I like, it's got a high saber grind on it, so which means you have a lot of time to taper that blade into a fine edge, and it is a very fine edge. It looks to me like it'll still be relatively tough. I'm gonna see if I can kind of make it show up on the camera. But you can see, you start out relatively thick and come down, so I think it'd still be pretty tough, and it's Magna Cut, so it's pretty tough, which is nice. And then he has a high hardness on the Magna Cut, so it should have really good edge retention. I'll find that out eventually when it starts dulling. I haven't even dulled my Work Tough Gear Lynx yet, which is N690 cryo, and I use it all the time, and it still isn't dulled yet. I mean, I do strop it sometimes, but I don't know if it's even needed. It does a good job. So, yeah, I'm really impressed with the knife. I spent a lot of money on this. Right now, I'm in Canada. Our economy is garbage right now. We have a lot of inflation. Our dollar's worthless. So it cost me a lot to get this knife, and I was happy paying that because it seems very high quality. It still seems high quality, having it in hand, of course. It's got great reviews and stuff, so I have no regrets at all. If you're wondering how much it costs, these are $265 US, which equates to about 380 Canadian, and then I had to pay a $30, I don't even know what the hell it was. It's some kind of duty fee or something, which is stupid because we're supposed to have free trade between Canada and US, but of course that's all going all crazy right now with the tariffs and whatnot, but I don't think this falls under the tariffs. But anyways, all politics aside, which are stupid, it's a wonderful knife, and I'm always happy to support our brothers in the States. I'd never hold anything against any American. I would love to be an American, frankly. Maybe that'll happen someday, depending on what happens with this crazy country. Anyways, back to the knife. I like the tip and how it sweeps down, kind of sheep's foot. It's perfect for like opening packages and doing like delicate cutting tasks where you're just trying to like slice into something. I slice into my dog food for the dogs. I open packages, that kind of thing. That's probably more where I'm going to use that. And I'll probably chop for cutting sandwiches, apples, all that kind of stuff. The jimping on here is pretty aggressive, as far as like it's pretty deep. I would say it probably doesn't affect the structural integrity of the knife whatsoever, because you can see right there the high saber grind is pretty deep right there. It does let you get a really solid handle on this. Like, I could never see my thumb moving off this jimping ever if I was really doing something rough with it, which is nice. And the blade length is 2.8 inches, I believe, which is a really good blade length. I found kind of roughly 3 inches to 3.5 inches is kind of my sweet spot for an EDC fixie. May depend on your laws where you live, but we have no laws on length or anything like that where I live. So yeah, it's gorgeous. It has that really pretty Schwarz engraving on it, which I really like. I like everything about this knife. It's got some little cutouts here for gripping, but I mean, the grips are so thin, I don't think it really matters, but you can get a nice pinch grip on there, do some stuff. So it's kind of like a little mini kitchen knife, and I really like it. I think it's beautiful. So let's look at some size comparisons. So we'll put this guy right here. And let's start with the Cold Steel Pendleton Mini Hunter. This has, I think, a 3-inch blade if you count from the grip up. So if we put that, I'm going to put everything tip to tip here. So you can see those are roughly actually the same size, which is interesting. Yeah, that is interesting. They're about exactly the same size. Let's do the Benchmade Hidden Canyon Hunter, which I kind of told myself I would sell this if I bought this knife, so this is probably on the chopping block. It's going to get sold. I haven't really used it all that much, to be honest. But it is a very beautiful knife. And I do have to do a review on this as well. So that'll be coming at some point. Alright, let's get the tips lined up here roughly. So that's about the same size, which doesn't surprise me because the blade length on this is also 2.8 inches. And then you have a very similar grip size on this. So there's that. And then let's bring in the... I'm going to move the Pendleton out of the way so that we can bring in the Work Tough Gear Lynx, which has a 3.3 inch blade, I believe, or 3.5, I can't remember. That's definitely bigger, but it does sit well in the pocket, just because the blade is the biggest part. The handle's actually small, so it actually sits deep in your pocket, and it makes a good EDC, but it's kind of what I imagine using for like skinning animals, like deer and moose and elk and that. Make an excellent skinning knife and basically game processing knife. So that's the reason I'm keeping that guy. I really like the Work Tough Gear Lynx. It's a great design. I'd say it's right up there probably with the Schwarz. I think the Schwarz is a pretty good design too. So that's tip to tip. You can see the handle sticks out quite a bit compared to the other two, just because the blade is longer. You can see the blade's like, a good inch or half inch longer than that. So probably about a half inch longer. And let's bring the grips all in line with each other instead of the blade tips. That's roughly correct. So you can see that Work Tough Gear Lynx is fairly got a little more meat to it, a little bit more length, and the sheath is taco style. And if you look, you can lay this over the Overland Sport, and it's the same width of the, because it's got a lot wider of a blade. And so I have no problems with that sitting in my pocket. And then let's compare the Benchmade. So the Benchmade sheath has a weird flare on it, which makes it wider. It's kind of annoying. I had to take some of it off to actually be able to fit an ulti clip on it, so I had to modify it a little bit. And you can see it's about the same size actually. In fact, I think it's it's about the same size at the widest point. So they're all very similar. And this is, again, pancake style. So, and if we're talking steels, the Benchmade's S90V, this is Magna Cut, the Overland Sport, and then Pendleton is AUS 10A, I believe. Yes, AUS 10A. And then we've got the N690 Cryo and the Work Tough Gear Lynx. So let's put these knives away for a second here. And I'll kind of have my final thought, kind of initial impressions on this Schwarz Overland Sport. I think TJ Schwarz did an insanely good job of designing this. The sheath is really high quality. He machines his sheaths, so he literally machines the shape of them and everything. So there's it just looks really well done, really high quality. Like if you look at the side of the sheath, it's very smooth and even. If you look up here, same thing. It doesn't feel like it has sharp sides or anything like that. It just seems really high quality. And then of course the knife seems insanely high quality. The Cerakote's impeccable. The grips are great. Everything is great. So I'm really excited to use this knife. One more thing I would like to do before I end the video is show you how it carries in the pocket. So let's just take a look at that real quick. So this is going to be different on a pair of jeans. The pockets on jeans are a little bit more kind of horizontal. This is a bit more vertical of a pocket. I'm wearing my scrubs from work here. But you can see it carries nice. With a pocket like this where it's got a kind of a more vertical sweep, I can actually conceal the whole blade. The ulti clip's still showing, of course. But on a pair of jeans, it's more realistically going to stick out a little bit like that. But if I carry it, I tend to carry my knives a little bit further into my groin area. And just because it conceals the handle a little bit more, and then I can go in and easily deploy the knife. Whoops. kind of failed at that time. But I can go in and easily deploy the knife, and then it's easy to sheath back in. Of course, you want to be careful doing that so you don't get your man parts if you're a fella. But yeah, I think it's going to carry really well, that kind of thin design of the handle and everything, and is going to carry it really well. It feels like I'm not carrying anything at all. So hopefully someone enjoys this initial impressions. We'll do a review at some point where I'll cut some stuff, I'll do some feather sticking, we'll do some batoning and all that. It'll be a lot shorter than this because I tend to ramble when I'm talking about stuff, but we'll do a use review kind of thing. But that's my initial impressions. It's a absolutely gorgeous knife, and I have zero regrets spending a ton of money on this thing. I'm going to keep this thing for the rest of my life, and it's probably going to get passed down to my kids, frankly. I'm really excited to get using it. So thank you, TJ Schwarz. It's an excellent product. I'm really happy with it. And if anyone's wondering, I'd recommend this to anybody. Great knife. Thanks for watching.